test. There it is, test, testosterone. Test, testosterone. Test, testosterone. Testosterone. Test my testicles. Testicles. Test, let's get physical. Test with my testicles. Test, that's if you're a girl. Test, testosterone. Test. Alright, yeah, that was only a test to find the sound and finally turn it on, yes. Actually, what I really wanted to talk about was, yes, did you see the Omen's open invitation to the President of Iran and, celebrating the holiday over there, and inviting the President of Iran to come to the table of nations? Funny, it just crossed my mind also that, did he ever wish the American people a Merry Christmas? Maybe a Happy New Year. He might have. Of course, I can't remember seeing that. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. But I will tell you what I saw. If you saw the speech that I was just referring to, like he's that close to the camera. So it was like, I felt like George Bush when he met Vladimir Putin and remarked, I looked into his eyes and saw his soul. That was one of the only times that we have ever seen Barack Obama on camera where we could look into his eyes and see his soul. Because if you remember correctly, he has his two teleprompters. Some people have an angel on this shoulder and an angel on that shoulder, you know, good and bad. No, wait a minute. The bad angel would be a devil, yeah, or a demon. And this one's talking in your ear, and this one's, do that, and the other one say, no, don't do that, do this. And the other one say, no, this and that. Okay, he has his two teleprompters, which are like, they're both bad. And they're telling him, we must redistribute wealth and 5 million new jobs created. Free healthcare, Wall Street, create or save 5 million jobs. Pakistan. Iraq, $10 billion a month, and shipping jobs overseas. Jobs. Create or save 5 million new jobs. Create 2 million jobs. Wall Street. 95% of Americans won't pay any taxes. Create 4 million jobs. Create universal solution. Create or save 4 million jobs. If you make over $200,000 a year, you will not pay any taxes. Create or save 4 million jobs. If you make over $150,000 a year, you will not pay any taxes. 5 million, create $5 million economic justice, and create or save 2.5 million jobs. Wall Street. Shipping jobs overseas. Wall Street. Universal solution, not the problem. The greediness of Wall Street, $10 million a month in Iraq. The greed of Wall Street, the working families. Wall Street. Pakistan. Create 2.5 million jobs. You know, this little film really was not for our benefit. He didn't talk to us, but he acted like he was talking for us, which, excuse me, I need to not talk to you guys for a second. I need to talk to the President of Iran. President Obama wasn't speaking for me. Okay, I'm back. And, the meat of this film, to stop wasting your valuable time, is that Bush and Putin, right, looked into his eyes, saw his soul. Well, you could look into Obama's eyes and see his soul. And the president of Iran, Ahmadinejad, is surely thinking this to himself. This is what he's thinking. Look at them bitch eyes staring at me like he wants me. Don't you know that I came to your country and lectured in your biggest university full of homosexuals, and I explained to them that Iran does not have this problem. I am not a homosexual. So do not look at me as if I am a homosexual. It is not my problem if you are a homosexual. If you are a citizen of the nation of Iran, the nation of which I am president, we would make certain that your homosexual tendencies would be, shall we say, prevented. And that would be the extent of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's interpretation of the warm and inviting, damn near fireside chat that the Omen engaged in with the people of an enemy nation. Oh, and, both of you gentlemen, read this. Okay, yes. And I got one more for you, Mahmoud Ayatollah Asahola. Remember the 80s? Yeah, a lot of people in this country wore that on like a t-shirt, or they painted it on a wall, or they painted it on aviation ordnance, scribbled with a piece of chalk, or yeah, the old saying back in those days was nuke 'em till they glow and use their asses for runway lights. That means you, Mahmoud. That's what I would say to you if I was the president. Or rather, no, I wouldn't say that, because I would have let you have it without a word about it. Just like 9/11. Just like all the other terrorist operations that you and your buddies over there, the crazy-ass mullahs, the ayatollahs and the assaholas, have financed. If you're all into that, look into a man's eyes and see in his soul. Ever notice, yeah, he's talking to his teleprompters, right? Or he's talking to you, and his teleprompters are talking to him in stereo. And he keeps on looking this way and that way and this way, and trying to look all noble and proud and fierce like this, and motivating like this, right? Does he ever... You could count on one hand the warm, loving look that he gives the American people. Does that look loving to you? The stance, the posture, the nose in the air, and while pretending not to look at his teleprompters while that is the complete focus of his focus. He looks over you, and that therefore he looks down on you, the people who attend his must-see speeches and rallies and visits across the countryside. While people who may not agree with everything he says, or much of what he says at all, finance the continuous campaign trips. Somebody who already won the election, but is still seeking more voters. In case you haven't noticed, he's stopped referring to us as, people. He refers to us as voters. Just to try to open up your eyes in that regard, you must mince and parse words and read between the lines with these people. Thing about a Marxist, everything they do, you can see that it's Marxist, but you're not supposed to say so. It's kind of like when people put poison in your drink and they try to tell you it's Kool-Aid. But I saw you put poison in. No, poison. Here, just drink it, will you? Drink it!